Trump.
God. All right. Hello and welcome to Handgun Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Bachad from the wild woods of central Maine, and this is your home for all the news, information, and discussion in the handgunning world. This week, we're just going to talk firearms news and listener emails. Oh, good Lord. I'm hearing myself here. All right. I'm going to have to edit that. So as always, we're brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network, and please check out the Patriot Patch Company for their awesome patches and other high-quality items. Visit patriotpatch.co for more information. And actually, there's something I want to mention here with the Patriot Patch of the Month Club. There have been these cool artist proof renderings coming along with them on like a postcard type material. So if you have not yet joined the Patch of the Month Club, be sure to go ahead and do that. And then also shop Amazon using our affiliate link, firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. And head on over to firearmsradio.tv/pledge and click on HGR. And there are a bunch of different pledge levels, and we really appreciate it. So, Weird, what did you do this week?
I was sick, and my wife was sick.
Again?
And my daughter, no, I think it was the same thing. I think it was just picking up a little bit more.
It's cyclic.
Ugh, yeah. But my daughter is feeling just fine, and she knows it.
So, isn't that always the best part?
Yeah, let's have fun. Woo, let's go. I just want to rest, sweetie. I'm not feeling so good. I just want to rest. So, but today was the first good day in a while. So I felt really good today. Worked out and never actually left the house. Like changed out of my PJs into my workout clothes for the rest of the day. And now I'm back in my PJs. So I know how to party.
Well, in my case, I didn't do much aside from I had to play a show and I had to trim some trees and stuff around the backyard at the house. So no gun stuff. I was going to go to the range today, but that didn't end up happening. So probably next weekend. Trying to get the ground to harden up a little bit because it's very, very soft basically everywhere you go around here.
Where it's not covered in snow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, most of the snow is melted, and we actually had
all the snow today. Today was the first day where there was no snow. Like my neighbor has a plow, and he plowed up a big old berm in his backyard, and that was in the shade of the fence. So there was a little pile of snow there for the longest time, and it just disappeared yesterday.
Yeah. As long as you have like sun hitting it straight on, you're all set. But otherwise, but I did notice I was just messing around on YouTube and I've seen it a bunch of times, but I didn't know if we had talked about it. This cool early video about James Bond handguns. It actually involves Sean Connery. And this is back in like around just after From Russia with Love, I think is when it was filmed. And they have the Major Boothroyd, the guy who advised Ian Fleming on which guns James Bond should actually carry.
And if you pay attention, Q was actually given the name Boothroyd.
Yes.
For this guy.
So it's actually a really interesting video. There's a link in the show notes. You can go check it out. It's in black and white, but it has Major Boothroyd talking about why he thought that James Bond should not be carrying a 25 Beretta. And, you know, some of the stuff, I mean, it's a little bit contemporary with when the video was filmed. He goes ahead and he has a 25 Beretta. He shoots a soup can with a 25, with a 32, and then with a 44 Magnum Ruger. He does admit in the video, he's obviously James Bond probably not going to carry a single action Ruger. But it's a pretty interesting video, especially given that it was filmed all the way back then.
Though, actually, I will note that in some of the early books, James Bond does have a 45 Colt single action in his car, just for that exact reason.
It's unfortunate they never incorporated that into the movies.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that the movies screwed up. There's a bunch of stuff the movies did that's better, but yeah, that happens to everything, book to movie translation.
Now, what did you think of the video? You had seen it quite a bit before too. I mean, it's very interesting to see, I think.
Yeah, I had it. I'd have to dig through my my DVD collection to figure out which one of my Bond films it's bundled with. It might actually have been Casino Royale, but either way, I have this video on high def, and yeah, it's fun to watch. I like it for exactly that. Is you've got to think about the time period, because as I've said in previous shows, James Bond would just carry like a Glock 26 and be done with it. Like
Right.
that'd be what he had. He might have like a 17 or a 19, kicking around as like a heavier gun for times. But he would not carry a PPK these days, and he probably wouldn't carry a P99. He'd just carry a Glock 26, and he'd throw it in the trash like every 5 seconds. Like if things got a little dicey, throw the Glock 26 in the trash. Go get another one. It's a Glock.
Yeah. So, and then also while I was watching that, I found another video that I hadn't ever seen with a couple of people shooting basically every handgun that James Bond ever used
In the movies.
in the movies.
In the movies.
Now, you saw a little bit of this one. What do you think of that?
I just skimmed it because it's like 26 minutes long, and you showed it to me like 3 seconds before we started recording. So I've got it sitting here on my desktop. Like as soon as we're done, I'm gonna watch a little bit more of it because I didn't get a chance to listen to much of the commentary, but I was impressed. Like they actually had the air pistol that he had in the cover of From Russia with Love.
Yes, and then they also the air pistol, and then they had the one that the lady gave him in License to Kill in the elevator, that little jet fire. So, I mean, different stuff. I mean, it's the P5. Like a lot of people don't know about that one.
Yeah. Well, the P5 kind of just blended in, but Walther was pushing that hard because that gun showed up both in Never Say Never Again, which is a personal favorite of mine. It was actually the first James Bond film I ever saw in the theater. And I saw it in the theater before you were born.
Thunderball.
What's that?
I think that one's better than Thunderball. It's a better telling.
Yeah. And I gotta say, like, okay, I get it. Like Felix Leiter in the books is a blonde Texan, but anytime an African American plays Felix Leiter, they just knock it out of the park. And I actually forget the name of the guy who plays him in Never Say Never Again, but that is an awesome Felix Leiter.
Bernie Casey, I think.
Yes, Bernie Casey and Jeffrey Wright in Casino Royale, just outstanding Felix Leiters, like really, really good. Most Felixes are kind of most of the Felixes throughout the Bond films either detract from the film or are just that's Felix. Whatever.
What's your opinion on License to Kill's Felix? That was my favorite.
Oh shoot, yeah. It has been ages. License to Kill is not one of my favorite Bond films. Like I feel License to Kill, I feel the exact same way about Live and Let Die. I don't like James Bond going up against just like rudimentary thugs and like narcos and New York gangsters. No, thank you.
I'm trying to think of that guy. He was in another one too. He was in no, it's the same guy that was in Live and Let Die, Felix from Live and Let Die. Unfortunately, so that's probably why you don't like him.
Oh, okay. I don't like Live and Let Die either. So same, but not the same Felix from Living Daylights.
No, completely different one.
That one's okay. That is an okay Felix. He doesn't add a whole lot, but he also isn't like as obnoxious as like the Felix Leiter from Dr. No is so obnoxious. Like with those goofy sunglasses, and he's weird.
50s arrogance.
Huh?
50s arrogance.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
So what's your drink segment this week?
I am having a martini.
A black pepper martini?
A black pepper martini, yes. And it's just a standard dry martini. So that's 1 part dry vermouth and 4 parts of in this case it's vodka. But it is not just any old vodka because I don't get just plain old vodka martini. I don't know why you would do that. But now black pepper infused vodka, that's something to talk about. And it is by far the easiest infusion you can do because number one, you just need standard strength vodka. Because essentially when I make my jalapeno vodka, I start with Everclear because the Everclear is going to pull the vodka is going to pull every ounce of water out of those jalapenos. That's why alcohol preserves things, is it pulls the water out of it. So if you use 80 proof vodka, you're going to have like liqueur strength vodka by the time you're done because all the water is going to come out of the peppers. But with black peppercorns, they're already dry. So you're not going to lose hardly any strength, if at all. So I just buy 3 Olives vodka because it is the cheapest vodka that is really, really good quality, but has no flavor whatsoever. So it's not going to distract from the notes that you're adding to it. Take about a tablespoon of black peppercorns, and I usually split it up into I take a 1.75 liter bottle of the 3 Olives, split it up between a couple mason jars, and split up that like tablespoon and a half of black peppercorns, and just let it sit for like 3 days just in my basement. And after about 3 days, it sucked up all the goodness out of the peppercorns and just pour it through a strainer into the back end of the bottle. And it is really, really good. And note that you're doing an alcohol extraction since there's not a whole lot of water in it. When you eat something that's got pepper on it, the pepper is going through the liquid in your tongue and going into your taste buds. So you're doing a water extraction. With alcohol, there are some chemicals that have a little bit more affinity to the alcohol than they do to water. So actually, a black pepper infused vodka tastes like black pepper, but a little bit different because the alcohol brings out certain flavors.
I'll definitely have to try that. That does actually sound quite good.
By the way, culinarily, that's also the reason why when you see like vodka sauce or, people pouring vodka on things when they're cooking, and you're like, why would you pour vodka on it? Vodka is not supposed to have any flavor, and as soon as you get vodka boiling, like the alcohol goes away. So what are you doing here? And what you're doing is you're pulling some of the flavors out of some of the things with the vodka, and it actually liberates some of the compounds. So like if you soak a tomato in vodka and then cook it, it will taste different than a tomato that wasn't soaked in vodka.
Perfect. Yeah. So try to soak things in vodka. That's basically what we're walking away with here.
Yes. Right now it's my liver.
All right. So with that, we'll head into the main topic, listener email and other stuff. So every so often we do these episodes weird, and these are fun.
They're super fun. Like I love like listener emails. Like keep them coming, guys.
I felt bad because these people had emailed me and I had flagged them in my inbox and I hadn't responded. I will respond like directly to you guys, but we're going to talk about you without your knowledge on the show. So enjoy that. We have listener Russ, and this is one that I'm very sad to answer because I feel really bad. Are you guys planning on going to NRA show in Dallas?
I am.
You are?
I am.
You are in fact going to go.
I'm gonna be there. Yeah, I'll I usually don't have like any sort of schedule. There's no like I don't have any like booth affiliations or anything like that. So I'm not going to be like at a certain booth, but I'll be at the HGR always has a get together there. I'll be at the HGR thing representing or the FRN get together and representing HGR. So
and
I will
another podcast.
And another podcast.
Well, your
podcast. My podcast. Yes.
But Weird. So yes. Meet up with Weird. Where can people contact you, and if they want to like be like, hey, let's meet up?
Yeah, shoot me like if don't bother like days before, but like the like Thursday or Friday or if you're there, shoot me an email at weirdbeard@gmail.com and it'll chime on my phone. And if you're just like, hey, I'm here there, let me know or give me a call or whatever you want to do. And I'll try to meet up with you guys. And another cool thing is I love hanging out in the press room. So if you hang out by the press room, just if you get some time to kill, like you want to eat, you're eating some food or something, sit down, find out where the press room is and sit down by there and just keep an eye out. You might see me walk by. You'll certainly hear me because I'm loud enough.
Thank you very much to Weird. Again, I can't make this year, new baby and household homeowner stuff, but I'm hoping that when the show gets closer, we can coordinate. Like if it's in like Pennsylvania, I have no problem driving to it.
You need to fly with a firearm, dude.
It's not about the firearm thing. It's just like getting the time and the money.
You can get the money. Just come on, man. What you were just talking about? You go to firearmsradio.tv/pledge.
I hate
and
flying
give Ryan a plane ticket.
I hate flying in planes that I don't fly. I hate riding in cars that I can't drive.
Okay. Okay. But yeah,
No.
go sometime. We'll get ourselves like an Airbnb. We'll get ourselves like a nice like a house.
Buy me a plane and I'll fly. I will fly the plane to
Are you
Dallas.
are you rated?
I was in the Civil Air Patrol and I got to fly a Cessna 172 like 4 or 5 times.
Inverted?
No, I'm not inverted. I'm not in that movie Flight.
No, I had a buddy who I went to high school with was in the CAP, and he talked about like the guy say there will be no inverted flight in the Cessna, and they're like, yeah, it's a Cessna.
Yeah.
Hold
This
on,
is not a
Goose.
P-51. Thank you. But yeah, so yeah, I won't be there, but Weird will be. We have listener Mark. Now this one was close to my heart. Handgun Radio and This Week in Guns are my favorite programs on the network. I'm a Revolver fan, a Steyr fan, and an Eastern Bloc pistol fan.
Love it. Good taste. Good taste.
I've shot my Yugo M57 and CZ82 in IDPA matches, and I've also shot my Steyr S40, S9, and L9A1 in matches. My M57 comes from Classic Firearms and ran like a beast during the match with no issues and great accuracy. The tiny sights did slow me down a little. My Steyr S9 has a chopped down G26 size grip, and the magazine's using an S40 base pad. Steyr should make that 13 to 15 round magazine that it needs, and it carries very nicely with the cut down grip.
Yeah, we gotta see the photo. He says he'll send a photo.
Yes,
So,
I will send him an email. Yes, please send us a photo of this. The L9A1, though, I'm interested in that because that is the long slide Steyr.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard a lot of people that have that and have been talking about it and really enjoy it.
What's the barrel length on that? Is that a full 5-inch or?
I want to say it's a full 5-inch, maybe longer.
Because what's the M9? What is the what's the length on that? Is that a 4.5 or is that a 4?
Hold on, I don't want to misspeak, so I'm going to pull it up.
Yeah,
right
I was
here
get
so everybody
confused
can
because
see it.
so many guns. Because you've got the in the world of 1911s, you got your 5-inch, your 4.25, your
So the L9A1 is a 4.5-inch.
Okay, so the M9 is a 4-inch.
My current pistol, my C, is a 3.6-inch.
Mm-hmm.
The M, I believe, is also the same. The M is 4 inches.
Okay.
And then the S series is the same thing as the C, 3.6 inches.
Yep.
So yeah, I think people have been really liked those guns. I mean, there's 4 or 5 people I've heard from that swear by them.
They are nice guns. Like the only thing they've got against them is that they're off the beaten path.
Right, exactly. I mean,
but they're really not that much. Most people make holsters for them.
Most of the modern Kydex manufacturers definitely make holsters for them. If you prefer something that's like from one of the older makers who are doing like leather stuff, you may run into difficulty. But there are a couple places that Grant Cunningham had shared with me that made leather holsters as well. So you should be all set getting a holster for the gun. I mean, it just takes a little bit more doing than something like for a Glock or whatever. But yeah.
Oh my goodness. You cannot get a Miami Classic shoulder holster for a Steyr of any kind.
Really?
Though I see that they've got a car thing here. Let's see. What's the models available? CW9, all the 9s and 40s, but not the 45s.
That is some discrimination against Steyr.
Well, I mean, it's one of those. No crap. I just realized in the model photo of it, they've got a some sort of 1911. Can't tell the make of it. Looks like a Colt because it's got a standard like old school rear sight, but it's all stippled on the front strap and the mainspring housing, and it's got a it looks like it might be a tricked out Colt. But they got the hammer down with the retention strap snapped. I can't put my retention strap on with the hammer down on mine.
Huh. That's not a safe way to carry it.
No, it's well, yeah, but there,
Well, unless the chamber's empty.
it's what it says in the user's manual.
So,
Oh,
listener, go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say they do have one of a Sig 320.
So, listener Nate, he says, I've been listening for a few years now, and I haven't seen you guys do much on 1911s. With all the variations of 1911s out there nowadays, I thought maybe a discussion about specific features like ambi safety versus non, commander, full size GI guide rod versus length, full length scandium or aluminum frame versus steel, even the bull barreled 1911s with no bushing. I recently bought a Range Officer Elite Champion at 45, and the breakdown is very odd in comparison. Just a thought for the show. Thank you, Nate, for listening. And weird, we've talked about 1911s quite a bit, haven't we?
We have talked about 1911s quite a bit. It's been a while since we really have like dove into it. Just in like the last it's been probably easily like 24 episodes since we've really talked 1911 seriously.
So why don't we ask Daniel Waters to get with us
Mm-hmm.
and do a just like 1911 extravaganza episode?
I would love to do a 1911 extravaganza.
Daniel's going to have some pretty friggin' serious insights, I think.
And he's going to have some like patents for guns that I've never seen before.
Well, and Daniel's going to talk about like hanging out with like gunsmiths that we've never heard of before.
Mm-hmm.
That have done incredible things to 1911s that we've never seen before.
Yes.
So, all right. Yeah. We'll talk to Daniel. We'll see about that, Nate. Because us peons can talk about 1911s all day, but Daniel can talk rings around us about 1911s.
But a real quick thing is, I mean, I don't know. I see enough ambi safeties these days, and I haven't actually ever really handled like an ambi safety just on its own. I've handled a bunch of 1911s with ambi safeties, but I've never actually like handled just the ambi safety. But I've heard people say because the safety needs to get pulled straight out. So it's not like on, say, like an M&P. You can get an M&P with an ambi safety. The ambi safety just kind of sits down into the frame. So when you take the top of the slide off, you essentially can pull the safety just right out of the top of the gun. With a 1911, it needs to break apart somehow. I don't know how they do that. That's the big crux of the question. But I've heard some people say that they don't like ambi safeties because they're a failure point. I will say right now, I really don't have a huge problem with those. Let's see, bull barrels. I don't like them. I don't like them because it does make the breakdown a whole lot more different. Like that's one thing that I love about the 1911. I kind of wish other guns would do. I like the fact that you could just take the spring pressure off the gun immediately and then just line the slide up and take it apart. Like awesome. And definitely the bull barrels where you need to like put like a paper clip into the guide rod. No, thank you. But one of the big problems that you've got with the bull barrels, this is not a major issue for probably 90% of all the people, but if you end up shooting that gun out and it starts losing accuracy, you'll need to get a whole new barrel because they will need to machine the barrel to lock up again with the slide. Versus if you're using a gun that's got a bushing, you just toss the bushing and get a new bushing, and they can be made just as tight and just as accurate. So those are two little 1911 tidbits just to throw at you, but we could dive into that on the full show because I've already gone too long.
Yeah, we definitely need to have a better 1911 episode. I think Daniel will bring a lot to it, and we can just like approach avenues we've never talked about before. So we have listener Chris, and this is regarding the Ruger 9mm LCR. So he says, "Hey guys, listening to episode 191, you read listener feedback about the Ruger LCR 9mm. I had one of these, and it was a very fun gun to shoot. Moon clips were awesome and made reload super quick. If you notice, though, I'm speaking in past tense because I sold my LCR 9mm. What I found was that range and target ammo was awesome, but my preferred 9mm carry ammo was a 147 grain Spear Gold Dot G2 that I like heavy for caliber bullets. When I found shooting the LCR 9mm one-handed, either strong or weak hand, was that the slightest limp wristing of the 147 grain bullet would start to walk out. This is because generally pistol cartridges don't have the crimping that typical revolver cartridges have. By the third shot, the bullets had walked out enough to lock the cylinder up and prevent further cycling. With a good two-hand hold or deliberately strong holding the gun with one hand, this problem didn't happen. Also, with lighter 115 grain ammo, this never happened. But because I wanted it as a carry pistol in the heat of the moment, you're not always guaranteed a good two-hand hold, and I want to carry heavy for caliber bullets, I decided to move to other options for a small 9mm. I was saddened by this as I am a revolver lover and I really wanted the LCR 9 to work for me, but I just wanted to share my experience with you guys and the listeners. If you want to stick with lighter 115 grain ammo, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, but be aware this can happen with the heavier 147 grain bullets.
Yep, that is a standard issue thing for most lightweight revolvers is their ammo's gonna walk out. And I mean, that's including like all the way up to like the 425s. What's the scandium frame 6-shot 45 that Smith & Wesson makes? Is that the 425?
425. Wait a minute, which one? The 4-shot 44?
No. It's the end frame 45 ACP with moon clips.
625?
It was 625 is the steel, but they make or made a scandium frame one. Which
the night guard, like the 325 or something.
325. Like that. That's it. Excuse me, I'm not wearing my Smith & Wesson Dakota ring. But yeah, the 325. They made a bunch of lightweight framed Model 25s, and those ones will the rounds will jump the crimp all day long, from what I've heard. And the same thing goes with my LCR. I have my hand loads are 157 grain 357s, and they will. I haven't put an extremely heavy crimp on them. I'll need to try. I need to cook up a new batch at some point, but and I'll try to put a heavier crimp on them. But the load that I've got a few left on. Yeah, no, I won't necessarily be able to get through a full cylinder without one walking out a little bit. It's just heavier bullet. The heavier the bullet, the more you're going to have this problem.
Yeah, it so wasn't that a problem with like the light J frames that had like the 125s in them, like the super light titanium stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's anything that's, again, if you've got a really, really heavy gun, it's not going to have as strong a recoil force, because essentially what you're dealing with is inertia. And essentially the bullets have none, the gun's getting a whole ton of it. And so as the gun recoils back, those bullets sit there. And the more inertia or resistance to inertia, I guess in this case, I actually don't know the proper physics term to say it with it, but the amount of inertia that the bullets could have is going to be how much they can pull themselves free from that crimp. So the heavier the bullet and the lighter the gun, just when you've got that disparity there, you're going to have problems. So, I mean, that's why, I carry, 124 gold dots.
I carry the 135s.
Is it 135?
Yeah, it's the short barrel 38 special load.
Oh, mine's not the short barrel. Mine's 125s.
Yeah, I had the 125s, but then I found the New York PD like approved backup load was the 135 grain.
Oh, that's a 38 special, right?
38 special, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's gold dot 357s for mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I'm carrying just a J frame that's only rated for 38s. So
yeah, but it's also all steel. So I don't know if that one would be much of a problem.
The 135 grain, though, I've heard great things about that short barrel load that they designed.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's awesome. But have you ever had any rounds walk out?
Nope, not at all.
Have you done any like 158 grain hand loads or anything like that? Or what do you
I crimp those SOBs like nothing else. So
yeah.
I don't think I've ever had any problems.
Yeah, no, I got you.
We already have somebody writing in the comments of the show notes. 1911 extravaganza sounds great to me. I'll be looking forward to it.
All right. Awesome.
So I'll have to get with Daniel and see if we can figure something out here soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out. I mean, LCR 9 millimeter. I like the concept, but again, it's a really light gun. So you may run into some ammunition issues. There's just different things to think of, different things to consider when you're carrying a revolver as opposed to a semi-auto. So weird. This next one was your idea, the post-war Colt Pocket Model M.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought of you. Like it was just cool.
It looks like, if you look at the grip of it, it kind of reminds me of that Cop 357 Derringer, like a little bit flared out at the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the more I was actually thinking about this a lot more on it, and it really actually it's kind of the go between. So for those that don't know, check out the show notes, but essentially this was the predecessor to the, what was the 380? Was that the 1908?
This one wasn't, but
no, yeah. What was the,
yeah, the 1908 was the 380. The 1903 was the 32.
Okay, so essentially, this was the predecessor to the 1908 380 pocket pistol by Colt. Is essentially, I didn't realize this, that they were, that because I know that they sold them forever, but they really just made a ton of them and then just had them warehoused for a long time. And Colt was putted around with the idea of making a more modernized version of I guess they called it the M pistol. I'd never heard that term before, but essentially of a more modernized version of the 1908.
Yeah, originally all the pocket models were the factory designation was the Model M.
And it's kind of like if a 1908 and a 1911 had a baby. Is a lot of what I see on it. Is I'm looking at the grips, and the grips are absolutely 1908. The trigger is both. The internal workings is very much 1908, but the sights are a little bit more 1911. The grip safety is definitely 1911. It's got that little flare at the bottom, which is kind of like a 1911 A1 with the arched mainspring housing, but it doesn't have a mainspring housing, so that it's got the button magazine release like a 1911. And essentially, this is kind of like a go-between before the Colt Mustang came about.
So basically, the Colt 1903 series, 1908 series, the pocket models, the Model M, were made from 1903 until I want to say like the early 40s, like 42 or 43. Or may have been made like a little bit less than that, but they just had leftovers. But the tooling that they used to make these firearms had worn out. They had made so many of them, and the investment it would take to make new tooling for them to continue making the firearms versus the demand that they saw on the market, military as well as civilian, just didn't warrant it. Mm-hmm. So I believe they tried to make this prototype new Model M pistol to fit with the current tooling that they had. But I mean, at that point, it was just, you had like Colts coming out 9mm and stuff like that, I think.
Yep. Yeah, well, I'm trying to remember if they didn't have anything small at that point, though.
When did the Commander 9mm, like that thing, come out?
The Commander 9mm came out, oh shoot, I don't know the exact year, but I believe it was just after World War II. So
I can't imagine it was very long after World War II before you started getting carryable nines. I mean, not carryable by today's standards. I think the
Defender came out to like the late 70s or early 80s, though.
Right, but the Commander's
the
officer
came out pretty soon after that.
So. But even a 9mm Commander is not really a gun that you can't carry.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's the whole point of the 9mm Commanders. I mean, the Commander was originally in 9mm. Like, it's not you think about 1911s, they're all 45s. No, the Commander started out as aluminum framed 9mm. Um, and it's absolutely carryable. And I should know I mean, mine's at 45, but it's a carry gun. It's my carry gun. But it's not quite as small as this gun though. I mean, this gun's
A little bit smaller than that.
yeah, this gun is definitely as soon as the Officer ACP came out, that would be that's that you're getting hard pressed to see too much of a difference between the two.
So yeah, go check that out. There's a great video by Forgotten Weapons on that. The next one here has to do with another auction house that we know about. We've spoken about extensively. The James DeGiulia auction house, and this is the top 5 most expensive guns sold at James DeGiulia's spring of 2018 firearms auction, and the final firearms auction. So weird. I know these aren't handguns, but we'll start here. The number 5, $178,250. The John Ulrich engraved Winchester Model 1876 lever action rifle.
It's pretty.
It looks very nice. I actually got to handle this rifle.
Nice.
We looked at these when we were doing the interview that was posted a few episodes ago, actually. And the rifle was really impressive to see in real life. The figuring of the wood combined with all the work that was done on the receiver, it was just incredible.
And does it look, it looks like, is there some color case hardening in that receiver? Is that what I'm seeing?
I don't recall any. I think it might just be like the patina or something, the way that it wore over the years with the engraving on it.
Yep.
Then you have number 4, $230,000, the Colt 1883 U.S. Navy Gatling with tripod. I did not see this one.
That is a lot of brass.
Yeah, that's a lot of brass. I was going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 barrels.
That'll do. Does it say what it was chambered in?
4570. 4570. Good Lord.
Like you should. Pretty good Lord. Who cares?
That's the rainbow caliber.
It's not a big old pintle.
When I was a kid, there was an old Mainer that called. I said, what about 4570? He goes, oh, you mean the rainbow caliber? I said, what do you mean by rainbow caliber? And he says, oh, well, the trajectory is like a friggin' rainbow.
Yep, he's just lobble.
I was like, okay, well, that.
I remember watching a video of a guy with a Shiloh Sharps, and he had a Shiloh Sharps, and he was shooting at a steel buffalo, and he'd line up his shot, he'd pull the trigger, and then he'd sit up and look over at his spotting scope and watch the round hit.
And this is why we shoot 444 Marlin.
Yeah, and at the same time, let me tell you, it hit that steel buffalo like you'd hear it ringing coming back. So say what you will about that rainbow trajectory, that big old lead bullet is still packing a wallop 1,000 yards downrange.
Number 3 was a Winchester Model 1873 1 of 1,000, sold for the same exact price, $230,000. It has a full octagonal 30-inch barrel, full-length magazine tube, color case hardened receiver, and was chambered in 4440 Winchester.
Interesting.
A lot of lever action love in this action.
4440 with a full octagonal barrel. That thing wouldn't move.
Number 3, $258,000, 750. Marlin engraved 1893 takedown lever action rifle presented by Marlin to Annie Oakley.
Well, no wonder.
Yeah. This thing actually looks pretty cool though.
It's very cool.
Those early Marlins, I think those early Marlins don't get nearly the amount of respect they deserve compared to the Winchesters.
It's got a weird little profile to the barrel. Is that partially octagon? Is that what I'm seeing there?
Is it half octagon, half round?
That's what I think.
It's in 3855 too, which is an unusual cartridge.
I don't even know what that is.
It's an older like black powder sort of rifle cartridge, sort of not.
Yep.
I think I'm probably gonna get emails about that, but number 2, $299,000 Colt 1875 Gatling gun on an original carriage. I did see this one sitting in the auction hall. Didn't really look at it twice though, because
Yeah,
it looks like an artillery piece.
Yeah, I'm not all that interested in the Gatlins as well, but I see them and they're cool. This one does not have nearly as much brass, but this one's got wheels.
So this one, I was very proud to say that I did see this. I was able to handle this one, and it was as incredible as the photos make it out to be. It was $598,000. And this was a Winchester Model 1866 lever action rifle engraved by Conrad Ulrich. This thing was incredible. I remember being shown it, and I said, that is incredible. The detail. I mean, I've been back in high school. I was fortunate enough to take a trip to Florence, Italy, and see all this, like the paintings and everything they do on the walls and all the churches and everything. And this rifle basically has stuff like you would see there, except carved into the metal of it. That's the only way I can describe it. It looks like that's what it looks like to me.
Yep.
But it was just incredible. Really, it really is. And it's sold over $500,000.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and it's a 44 Henry rimfire too.
And the other thing is, they had a original box of 44 Henry rimfire at that same auction. That was worth about $50,000. So
50,000?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Why didn't you buy this weird? I mean, I kind of expected you to make a bid on it.
On what? That rifle?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I already got one.
Already got one. It's chambered in 7.62 by 5.4. So
exactly. Yes. It was master engraved by one Sergei Mozin.
So the last one here before we wrap up, the CZZKR 551 XYZYB revolver. This is Weird's choice.
Isn't that cool?
Why'd you put a fancy revolver on this?
You were saying something. We were looking at something else in the Facebook page, and Daniel put this up, and I just saw it, and my mind was trying to figure it out, and I'm just like going down the line, and it's just nuts.
Well, first of all, let's talk about this website Revivaler, because I've been following this on Facebook for quite some time, but all the categories they have on their website page: aircraft, boats, books, cars, gadgets, handguns, and knives. It's basically just a one-stop shop for everything I love.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I kind of hate boats, but aircraft is fine. Cars are fine. Books are fine.
Do you hate boats?
I mean, boats break out another 1,000 is basically all
I don't want to own one, but I love boats.
I love riding on other people's boats.
My opinion of boats is my same opinion of dogs. Is I love dogs. I love your dog. I'm not going to own one.
Yeah,
I don't want one of those filthy beasts in my house.
I like aircraft too, but I don't want to pay for one.
See, look at this. Are you on the page right now?
Yeah, I'm on the guys.
Look at the boat section. Scroll down. They've got the Riva Tritone 86 Seahawk.
Oh my God.
Tell me that doesn't give you a chub.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that a beautiful boat?
That's a nice boat. That reminds me of the old boats from like James Bond that I really like, but we're back to the revolver here. This is Handgun Radio, not boat radio.
Yep. But again, that's a great boat for somebody else to own and give me a ride. My uncle had a correct craft, and the thing was absolutely beautiful and wonderful. And I got to see, I'd be swimming at the lake while he would be sitting up on shore putting in new wood into it.
Let's find the finest lake in central Maine, and you could put the boat right out on it.
Mm-hmm.
They can even drive it up the Kennebec. But your revolver, the one that you were talking about.
It's not my revolver. I wish it was. With this Target, every time I see these Target grips, I'm always like, it wouldn't fit me, but I'd get a new set carved. But yeah, so I'm trying to figure it out. So it's got the profile and kind of overall shape of a double action revolver. And I've got to assume, I know nothing about this gun. I've got to assume just the looks of it, it's got to be based on a double action revolver. But as I'm looking at it, you can see the trigger is almost up against the stop and the hammer's down. So therefore it's single action. It's got a very obvious loading gate on the side, and as you look, you can see that it's got an ejector rod on it. So it's a loading gate gun. So the cylinders does not swing out, and it's got this big, heavy, square profile barrel with just some really nice target sights on it. It's just a cool looking gun. I was digging on it.
I think it would look better without the target grips on it. I would love to see it with a standard set of grips.
I Now that I've had a time to think about it, I originally said no because the target grips make the gun make sense. Because they'd be looking at it like, why are you going with a single action only loading gate gun
Okay,
and not going with a more traditional, single action army inspired gun, be it, an actual single action army clone or something like a Ruger Blackhawk.
This is where I'm coming from. Think about the barrel profile of those new end frames that Smith and Wesson makes, like the super tactical ones with
Yep.
like the tapered, like the edges are like shaved off and the barrel looks all square in different ways. This is what that looks like.
Yep.
It's like if you took a Colt or Police Positive or a Smith and Wesson Model 10 barrel blank, and instead of rounding it, you like shaved off the edges and made it like square. I don't know. It just kind of looks cool.
It looks very cool.
But everything looks like it's going forward too.
Mm-hmm.
Has that forward angle to it.
Or actually, even better is if you took a Smith and Wesson barrel blank and a square barrel blank, if you will, because I don't know if they come in round or square, and instead of and tried your best to make it look like a Desert Eagle barrel.
Yes,
because it's got that kind of Desert Eagle barrel look about it too.
And
like I said, while I'm not crazy about the Desert Eagle as a pistol, though again, one of the compact, lightweight in 44 Magnum, I would really want one of those like so bad. But I do think it's one of the more attractive pistols out there.
So before we wrap up, I actually totally forgot to look at the listener comments section. Snarky Poster says the 9mm Commander was RFP and the Army declined to order. Officer ACP was in the late 70s, early 80s, and the Defender was late 90s to mid to late 2000s.
Oh, so the Defender was that late. I almost said 90s and went, no, couldn't be that late, but the Defender was that late.
And then our savior here, Daniel Waters, was watching and comments. The M1911 was internally known as the Model O. If I remember correctly, the 25-1908 vest pocket was the Model N.
Nice.
The officer's I got one of those. Officer's ACP was early to mid 1980s. The Defender was late 1990s. Yeah, that fantastic stuff. And then Daniel says the cosmetics of the Colt Woodsman were also revamped post World War II, kind of along the same lines. So, Daniel, if you're still listening, we are going to have a serious show. We will be in contact here.
4 hours long.
4 hours long, and I'm fine with it. I'm totally fine with that. So, with that, we'll head into the wrap-up section and close out the show. Don't forget to shop Brownells using our affiliate link. Head to firearmsradio.tv and click the affiliate link on the upper right-hand corner. Be sure to go like Handgun Radio on Facebook and share it with your friends, and leave us a review on iTunes. Be sure to check out all the great shows on the Firearms Radio Network, and check out the Firearms Radio Network on YouTube. And Weird, where can people find you?
You can find me at my blog, which is weirdworld.com. You can also hear me on my podcast, which is the Assorted Calibers podcast, which at this time has not dropped yet. I'm hoping my phone's going to chime up and say that we've got the last little bit that we need to publish it, but it's going to be any second now. And so stay tuned for that. Assorted Calibers, assortedcalibers.com.
Excellent. And there will be links for that in the show notes. So thank you again for coming on the show.
Oh, it's always good to be on.
And we will talk to you next week. And until next week, have fun and safe shooting.